I have a question for you guys. What if you got pulled over by a police officer for a traffic stop and the police officer asked you for a license and registration and you just turn around and said no? Basically, you're not complying what the police officer is asking you. What will you do in that situation? Do you think that you're in the wrong, or the officer was in the wrong, or you're in the right? Or we're going to get down and dirty about this video that went viral of William McNeil getting stopped at a traffic light, and he was basically not compliant to the police officers. And a lot of people are saying that William is in the wrong, the police was in the wrong. I had a debate with my husband about this, and we're going to discuss about it and who was right and who was wrong, and couldn't this situation been dealt with differently? So let's just dive in and let's get right into it. Welcome back, everyone, to That's It. Okay, you guys. So William McNeil, 22-year-old young man, excuse me, got pulled over a traffic light in Jacksonville, Florida. And I have to say, when I looked at the full footage of the video, because obviously the police officers they have a body cam, and also William recorded the whole incident as well. And I looked at the whole video, and when I watched the video, I understand why the officer had to break the window because William was not compliant at all. He was just very, I would say, rude a little bit and disrespectful. But people have their own opinions and views when they watch the video. But what I don't understand, when a police officer, after they broke the window and then they told him to, like, let me see your hands, and they sucker punched him. So I didn't understand why the police officer did that. Not only once they sucker punched him, they sucker punched him twice. And I didn't understand the reason why for the violence, because he was not very violent. The police officer asked him, let me see your hands. He put his hands up, then he put him down, and then he crossed his hands. He still had his seatbelt on, and then he put him up. Now, and when I saw the video, I he should have just kept his hands up. He shouldn't have put him down. He should have just listened to the officer and be simply compliant. I feel like if he would have just listened to the officer, and when the officer asked him for license and registration, he should have just complied. But no, he gave the police officer pushback. Now, I'm not condoning what the police officer did, because the police officer should not give that force. You know what I mean? You can pull the person out of the vehicle, but you shouldn't sucker punch the person for that force because you didn't like what he was telling you, because he was telling you no, because he was not complying to your request. And yes, it was a resisting arrest. And I read the police report, which I'm going to share with you. But this article says the latest video of February 19 arrest of William Anthony McNeil Jr. shows the perspective of two officers responding to the stop, and began with McNeil was pulled over for over a headlight and a seatbelt violation in Jacksonville. The new body camera video showed officers confronting McNeil and punching him after he questioned why he was pulled over and refused to get out of his car. The release comes after cell phone video of McNeil recorded of the interaction with the officers gained viral traction online. That footage promptly a criminal review that end with prosecutors clearing the law enforcement official of any wrongdoing. Also, Waters, I believe that's the sheriff. Yeah, Sheriff T.K. Waters said in a news conference, which I'm going to show you a video of, that he did on July 24th, that one of the videos devoted the contact can be misleading, referring that the cell phone footage that sparked a backlash over the agency handling of the traffic stop. Waters also said McNeil was in a possession of marijuana, and the officer found a knife in the vehicle, which is true, but the knife was on the floor. You know what I mean? The possession of marijuana, okay. When the cop asked William, let me see your hands, he showed his hands. It's not like he went down and tried to grab the weapon of the knife. So I don't understand that. Yes, he had a knife in his vehicle, but he didn't have it in his hands and in his possession. Now, what's really shocking, not shocking, is that McNeil, William, um, got an attorney, and his civil rights attorney, Ben Crump. And if anyone don't know who Ben Crump is, he's the one that represents George Floyd and among other people too for wrongful doing. And also Harry Daniels to represent him. I don't know who Harry Daniels is, but I definitely know Ben Crump, and I know a lot of people know Ben Crump. And if you don't, and this is William. This is the young gentleman that got sucker punched and got pulled over a traffic light and not complying to the police officer. Now, in a police report in Jacksonville, Florida, it says, in which I highlighted, possession of marijuana. Okay, it was like 20 grams of marijuana. Resisting officer without violence to his or her person. Now, when this says in a police report, resist, which he did without violence, let me ask you this. What was the need for the police officer to sucker punch him? Not once, but twice. He was not violent. He was just asking questions. Now, I'm not saying that William was right in this. He was definitely wrong. After you see this video, which I'm going to depict and tell you guys, he was absolutely wrong because he should have complied and he should have listened to the officer. I just feel like he just had that attitude that he shouldn't be listening to the authorities, like he was above the authorities. And if he would have just listened to and complied, none of this would happen. This would not gone viral. He would have been injured. None of this if he would have just listened. However, the police was wrong too. The police was wrong. The police should not put his hands on William when he was not being violent himself. He was not being violent towards the police officer, which clearly you're going to see in the video. He was not being violent at all. And I feel like the sucker punch was just totally unnecessary. Now, I know that police officers, they go through training when it comes to incidents that happens like this and what they should do and how to prevent this. I don't think they say, well, you need to sucker punch someone if they're not compliant. You break the window, you remove the seatbelt, and then you take them down to the ground. That's it. Not to get violent and punch them, okay? And then the sheriff said, Sheriff Waters, he said, well, it depends on the circumstances. No, it doesn't. It doesn't give you the right to sucker punch someone. That's like at my job. And if I'm not doing something that that's not compliant to my job, does that mean that my boss have a right to smack me in my butt and tell me, Cheryl, you need to do this or else? No, that's just a violation that my boss should not put his hands on me, period. Same thing with a police officer, unless it escalate to violence, that's a different story, to protect themselves. But I feel like the police was not in danger, in my opinion, and that's what I saw on the video, and I was telling my husband this, and then he was debating, we were both debating, excuse me, and then my husband was saying, well, that was William's fault. He deserved it. He deserved to get sucker punched. I'm like, wait a minute. Why did he deserve it? Then my husband was like telling me, well, the officer asked him to put his hands up, and I'm like, yes, he did that, and then he put him down, then he put him up, and then that's it. He didn't grab a knife. He didn't do anything like that. And then the police officer sucker punched him. And I think, in my opinion, I believe that cop that sucker punched William probably got upset. And then knowing that he was not listening to him, he was defying everything that the police officer was asking William. And he got upset. He got heated. His emotions got the best of him. And what he did, he punched the kid in the face. Not once, but twice, which is utterly disgusting. Now, no headlights. It was raining. And there was fog. It was smoke out there. And he didn't have a seatbelt on. And that's what the police report was saying. Now, according to William, and what you're going to see in the video, he was saying that, why should I have my headlights on? No one else had their headlights on, so why should I put mine on? And then the police officer said, well, it's raining and it's a little bit, it's dark. And then William said, well, it's not raining and it's not dark. And then he asked for him to speak to a supervisor. And where does it say it in the law? Because he wanted to know, where does it say it? Well, I looked it up in the law in Florida, and it clearly says, okay, it says Florida law specifies statute 316.217 spells out for a few key situations when headlights are required between sunset and sunrise. Anytime it is dark out, your headlights needs to be on. During rain, smoke, or fog, visible can drop quickly in Florida unpredictable weather. So if you're using windshield wipers in the rain, the law requires you to turn on your headlights too. Okay, so clearly in the video it was pretty dark. You know, his window was tinted as well, and it seemed like it was raining. Maybe the rain stopped, but you know, it says it clearly black and white. You have to turn your headlights on. And for him to refuse that and talk back to the police officer, it was really not necessary. It really wasn't. But I'm going to let you look at the video if you haven't seen it yet and make your own assumptions and your own judgment to see who was in the right, who was in the wrong. At the end of the day, no one doesn't win because the cop that sucker punched him, he took a leave. They suspended him or he took a leave of absence. In my opinion, they should have fired the officer. That's just me. They should have fired him because he put his hands on that young gentleman. Not saying William didn't deserve to get punished because he was not compliant. What I'm saying is the officer should have handled it differently and not seduced to violence because that's what it was. Okay. And I just want to warn you, if you guys this is a trigger warning, so please don't let your children see this, even though it's all over on social media. But I just want to comply to YouTube's rules and regulations. And again, it's a video. I want to show you a short video of this, the sucker punch that he got punched twice. And then I'm going to show you the full video of the whole incident that happened because it seemed like the videos was like bits and pieces, and they didn't show the whole video of what happened. It didn't show half of it. Meaning that the police officers broke his window, sucker punched him, and then took him out of the vehicle with force. So I'm going to show you the small clip of him being sucker punched the second time, and then the full video so you can get the full perspective of the whole video. So take a look. Whoops, sorry.
When he pulled me over, he walked up, opened my door because my window don't work, right? Yeah. And then I said, so what I did wrong? Yeah. He said, well, for one, your headlights are off under this weather. I'm like, okay. There's multiple people headlights off, first of all. And then there's no rain.
It doesn't matter. You're still required to have headlights on.
Can you pull that law up?
Huh?
Can you pull that law up?
Yeah, when you step out of the car, I will.
Can you call your supervisor? Can you call your supervisor?
All right, go for it.
Exit the vehicle now. Exit the vehicle. Show me your hands.
Here.
Then he put him down. He should have kept him up.
I'm here. What is your reason, sir?
Step out.
What is your reason?
Step out now. All right. No.
And as you can see, that's the second punch.
Hands behind your back. What's wrong with you?
Ain't no talking now, man. Ain't no talking.
What's going on, man? You're under.
Okay, so that is the part of the video. But now I'm going to show you the full video of the incident, what went down, what transparent why the police officers did what they did. Even though I don't condone that, but you will get more perspective of the video. So let's just see. Whoops, sorry. There we go.
Yes, sir.
Is there a reason why you popped the door open like that?
I have a window that works. Is there a reason that you're pulling me over?
Yeah, absolutely. There's a reason why I'm pulling you over. For one thing, inclement weather, you don't have your lights on. Two things, you're not wearing your seatbelt.
It's daylight. I don't need the lights. And it's not raining. It's not raining.
This is inclement.
See the attitude right there. Why push back with the officer? Why give him attitude? There was no need for that. He was wrong on that part.
Okay, I'm not arguing with you. I'm telling you why I'm pulling you over. Give me your driver's license, registration, proof of insurance.
No, call your supervisor. Why?
Excuse me?
Call your supervisor. Why did you pull me over?
27, 35. I've already told you.
Why did you pull me over?
Step out of the vehicle.
No,
Step out of the vehicle. 25 seconds. If they're not for it, driver just slam the door and lock it. Yep.
being attended via West Palm and Commonwealth.
25 seconds. If anybody responded, come in from Commonwealth, block the vehicle, please. Keep your hands where I can see them, sir. Yep, my camera's on too. I've already told you. Okay. Okay. Right now you're.
Pause right there. When William said, "Well, you didn't tell me why you pulling me over." Yes, he did. He told you why he was pulling you over. You didn't want to hear what he had to say. You just gave him attitude and thinking that you were the authority and just questioning him. All he asked you for your license and registration. If you would have just gave him that, probably the cop would have gave him a ticket or a warning, and he would have went about his business. But no, he wanted to be a tough guy. He wanted to talk back, and he could have just easily, just simply comply to the officer. But no, he wanted to get smart in the mouth, thinking he was tough. You can't do that, okay? It doesn't matter how much you don't like the police officer or you despise them. You have to comply, unfortunately, okay? You have to obey the law, okay? When they ask you for license and registration, you give them the license and registration. Make sure you have your camera on and make sure everything is recorded, obviously, to protect yourself and also, just in case if something shady is about to happen or going to happen, that you have proof of it, okay? I'm not, you know what I mean? And that's what William did, which he did the right thing. However, he was just so utterly wrong and disrespectful by talking back to the police officer, by questioning the police officer. You should have gave the police officer your license and registration. That's it. Now, was he pushed back because he had a knife in the car, because he had marijuana in his pocket? It's a possibility, because a normal person, I would think, if they get pulled over, they ask what is the reason why I'm getting pulled over, ma'am or sir? License or registration? Sure, no problem. You keep your hands on the steering wheel, and that's it. And you wait. Make sure the camera's on. Make sure the auto recording is on so you can protect yourself. That's simple. But I feel like maybe he was just giving him a pushback because he had a weapon in his car, and he probably had, he had drugs in his possession.
You're under arrest for resisting. You understand? You're under arrest for resisting. The longer you take us on, the worse it's going to be. Keep your hands where I can see them, sir.
And the windows are tinted.
Okay.
Excuse me.
Sir, this is the last warning to open the vehicle and exit before we're going to break the window.
And I'm sorry to pause it. I just want you guys to be aware of this. The police officer asked him 7 times to get out of the vehicle. 7 times, you guys. 7 freaking times, and he was still not compliant. So, again, ridiculous. 7 times. If he would have just got out of the vehicle, remain calm, obviously the cops is going to ask him, do you have any weapons? Do you have any drug possession on you? Say yes, be honest, instead of lying, because when you lie, it makes it 10 times worse. 7 times, you guys. And he refused to remove himself from the vehicle.
Open the door and exit, or we are going to break the window. Open the door and exit, or we are going to break the window.
Well, we're conducting a traffic stop right now. You need to.
No, he's under arrest.
Hey, I'll have a conversation.
Open the door and exit. You are under arrest for resisting. Open the door and exit. You are under arrest for resisting. Open the door and exit. You are under arrest for resisting. Open the door and exit. You are under arrest for resisting.
Can you unlock the door and step out? I will. Can you step out? You're being done. There's a traffic stop being conducted. You're required. Yes.
He's locked it up. Put the window down.
Correct.
Try to talk to him.
Okay. So what did he ask for when he, I guess,
When he pulled me over, he walked up, opened my door, my window don't work, right? And then I said, so what I did wrong?
Yeah.
He said, well, for one, your headlights are off under this weather. I'm like, there's multiple people headlights off.
Okay, that's still
And then there's no rain.
It doesn't matter. You're still required to have headlights on.
Can you pull that law up?
Huh?
Can you pull that law
Yeah,
up?
when you step out of the car, I will. Hey.
Can you call your supervisor?
Huh?
Can you call your supervisor?
All right, go for it.
Exit the vehicle now! Exit the vehicle! Show me your hands.
Here.
Investigation 33 at 16.1 hours.
What is your reason, sir? What is your reason?
Step out now. All right.
No, don't touch it.
Put your hands behind your back! Resist! Hands behind your back! What's wrong with you?
What you mean? I was putting my hands behind my back. I was going
Ain't no talking now, man. Ain't no talking.
What's going on, man?
You're under arrest. That's what's going on.
Yes, bro, yes!
Reason, bro.
Yeah, but take it off now, man.
And I'm just trying to have a regular conversation with y'all.
That's how it works.
When the accident step out of the vehicle, you should have done that. So your partner didn't even act.
Marijuana in his right pocket.
Yes, it is. So why close the door if you see him pull up? Because, man, what you mean? He talking about arresting me and stuff, but I didn't do nothing.
No resisting, idiot.
I didn't do nothing wrong. Can you back me up to the car so I can clean up? You're both my bro.
It's 57. Approximately 30-year-old. His last race.
I did.
Okay, you get the drift. Okay, so McNeil, lawyers say that he's sustained a tooth fracture, a concussion, and brain injury as well, and some cognitive impairment and short-term memory that due to because of his injury and stuff like that. Now, again, this was not even necessary. You know what I mean? If he would have just complied, follow the rules, when the police officer asked for license and registration, he should have done that. Now, was it necessary for 4 or 5 cops to be on top of him? No. I think 2 or 3 cops could have handled it. I don't think they need a whole army of law enforcement. Again, he resisted arrest, yes, but there was no violence. Okay, there was violence more on the officer's part than William's part, per se. I just wanted to point that out. But again, there's no need for it. But I want you to listen to the sheriff's response. Waters, TK Waters, he's the sheriff of Tallahassee. And I just want you to listen to what he has to say during this whole incident that happened during the traffic stop, and how the video went viral, and it's just all over social media, TikTok, Instagram, on the news, YouTube. It's just everywhere. And he's going to respond of the incident. So take a listen.
Yes, sir.
I know that he was charged with resisting arrest
Mhm.
without violence.
Yep.
But there was, when I go back and look at the other video, from the cell phone video,
Yeah.
I can understand the officer punching the window out. But what I don't understand is, and I know you said that this was not ruled criminal, sucker punching the guy in the jaw.
First of all, let me stop you. Not a sucker punch. I'm not excusing that
That
administratively.
was a sucker punch.
I'm going to say that to you one more time. I'm not excusing that administratively. There are things that we definitely need to look at. But the context of this video should tell you everything you need to know.
Well, again, I take it. It looks like it's a sucker punch because he's looking straight. You see this,
Right.
okay, and then you see them pull him out, and
Yep.
you see a couple of punches to the face.
Right.
Now, again, I understand breaking the window, but they charged him with resisting arrest without violence. So I
They
saw
say
a
it on
lot
the
of
police report.
violence. I I think the public saw a lot of violence
Yes, a lot of violence.
against somebody that was not violent.
Well, first of all,
Correct.
Eric, don't try to talk the public into what they saw. They just saw the same video as you saw. So what we're doing, what I'm saying is that it is what it is. This is the information that I want to share with the public
No,
in
it's not what it is.
context without a short clip.
It was violence.
It's very important to do that
With the
because
police.
it provides a lot of
Not
information
with
to
it,
the public.
William.
And you brought up the
It's important. Let me finish. It's important for the people to know that you're not allowed to resist a police officer when he's doing his lawful duties.
Correct.
It's been dealt with several different times. You don't resist when you're doing your lawful duties.
Right.
You don't deserve to get violated, but you deserve to get what's necessary to get you under control and get you and take you into custody.
Sheriff,
So I'll leave there. I'll go with. Go ahead.
One of the
Jake.
discrepancies we were seeing between the police report and what we saw in the video, even what we saw in that video was the allegation that McNeil had reached down for the knife. That was in the police report. But
Where'd you see? What police report did you see that in?
I didn't see it on the
arrest
police report.
for McNeil. That was stated that the officer saw him, reach for the knife that
That's
was on
not
the
true.
floorboard. The video that was posted to social media, even there, I couldn't see any clear indication of that. I mean, do you see that?
Correct.
when
I
you're
don't see
watching
it.
No,
this
actually,
video?
I don't see where his hands are. I can't assume, Jake. No one can assume. We operate off facts and facts alone. I can't make assumption. All I can go by when I read those things is what's stated in the report. I'm not saying whether it's true or whether it's not. I'm saying no one sees his hands at that point. He says, "Put your hands up," then his hands come up. But it was after the strike to the face. Like I said, again, I'm not trying this case in front of the public. I'm trying to give the public the information in context of what happened. No one saw his hands at that point. Don't know what happened from there, but that's part of the investigative process. Yes, ma'am.
So the officer was in custody of the cell phone that he was using to record the incident.
Yes. Put it in the property room.
That also was not true.
But he got it back with all the information still on it.
So can I get back to the second point?
The young lady back there had a question. We can get back to you in a second, Eric.
So did this incident rise to a level that a response to resistance report was generated?
Yes.
Has that been reviewed? And it's still under review? What was the outcome?
So here's the process. When force is used, a response to resistance report is written. It goes to the supervisors. The supervisors then, at that point, review body cam footage. So they would have reviewed this. But you can't see, admittedly, you can't see the strike at all. So it's very difficult. Had they seen that, it probably would have risen to another level to where somebody else would have gone further. Which is why we didn't really know at that time that all this had taken place. I'm a big believer in being honest and upfront. And if something like that happens, I'm going to tell you about it, like everything else that we've done. But it's very important to make sure we get this stuff out here in context so folks can see it. Yes, ma'am.
Sheriff, what are your thoughts on the video that was posted on social media and here's where one of the officers kind of turns off what's being recorded? What are your thoughts on that?
I don't know that he turned it off. I know that at some point we stopped it, but we wanted to make sure you got a chance to see both views from the officers that were dealing with him publicly, talking to him face to face. At some point it does turn off, but usually when the interaction's over is when that happens. And that's why we're still looking. That's why we look at the entire process. That's why we check for JSO policy violations. I can't give you right now whether they turned it off at the right time or at the wrong time. This is my opportunity to share the information with the public, right? And so now we still continue to refer to the social media video. But I just showed you body cam videos with much more information. Let's acknowledge that because that's important.
That's true.
The importance is I'm showing you the video, the body cam video, from the entire incident from start until they had to turn it off or we stop it for time, for time's sake.
Do you know if McNeil ever filed a formal complaint?
He did not. He did not. He never filed a formal complaint, which we
Until
would have been all
now.
over, had that been the case.
You got Ben Crump on his side.
But he did not.
He's going to.
I just want to get back to the punch. This is just a yes or no question.
Wait, Eric, are you going to tell me how to answer a question?
I'm just keeping it simple.
All right, go ahead.
Was it appropriate for the officer to punch this guy in the jaw after he'd already broken the window? Was that yes or no? Was that appropriate?
It depends on the circumstances.
What
But
was
it's
the
already determined
circumstance?
it's not criminal. Now we're going to look for JSO policy violations. How about that? Is that good?
Well, if
No.
a civilian did that to another civilian,
They both go to
they'd be
jail.
handcuffed.
No, not necessarily.
That's true.
It depends.
Let me pause. That is definitely true. I don't know why he's saying that. It depends. If two other people would have fought, both of them would have went to jail. Period. Maybe it depends on the circumstances, but most likely, if there's two altercations with two adults, you're both going to jail. Period. Because you're disrupting the neighborhood, you're making a scene, and you're putting violence on each other. So you both are going to jail. So when he says it depends on the circumstance, I doubt that. I doubt it. Anyway.
It's on the circumstances, the situation. I know that's how you want it to be. I know there's a tendency to want to be some massive cover-up. That is not. That's why I'm
I
here.
don't see it. I don't see a cover-up.
I stand up. We talk to you about what happened. We give you what we can give you. Then it's up to you guys to report it. But
Do you think the public is going to buy that?
I don't know. My point is,
Do you think the black community is going to buy that?
don't use a black thing. I'm a black man. Wait, hold on, Eric. Hold on. Stop for a second. Because you're trying to be incendiary, and this is not the time for it. This is me sharing information with our public, right? The whole statements about the black issue. I wouldn't work here if we're after black men or black people, period. I can tell you he wouldn't. I can tell you any other African American or black male or female that works here wouldn't work here if our black citizens are under siege. Not the case. Not at all. Been alive probably a little bit longer than you have. Haven't had any of these issues. You know why? Because if I was ever stopped by the police, which I was when I was a young man, and they asked me to do something, I did it.
That's it.
Simple.
Simple
Compliance.
That's it.
It doesn't
Simple
rise.
compliance.
It doesn't get out of control. That stuff doesn't happen there.
That's it.
Do as we ask you to do. If you don't like the word compliance, just do as we ask you to do. Then.
Exactly.
So that we can get finished. Then you tell us about it if you feel like your rights are violated.
That's it.
And we can deal with it.
That's it.
That's the way it should work.
That's right.
Every single time. Yes,
He's
ma'am.
right about that.
Disciplinary history at all?
Not that I know of. We'd have to look, but I don't think so. We'll get you that answer. Anyone else?
Okay. You get the drift of everything. Now, I didn't like what the reporter said. You know, what about how would the black community feel about this? Why are you putting race into this? Why? Whether if it was a white person, Hispanic, Asian, it doesn't matter. Why? He simply did not comply, okay? For him to say how the black community is going to react to this, there should be outrage because of his behavior, how his behavior was disgusting, how his behavior that he didn't comply with the police officer when the officer asked him license and registration. And what did William say? He said no. And closed the door. Okay? Now, I'm not saying, again, I just want to be very, very crystal clear, I'm not saying he deserved to be sucker punched because he did not act in violence. He didn't do anything. But my thing is, all of this could have been prevented, just like the Sheriff Waters said. If you just would have complied and just listened to the police officers, none of this would have happened. And if you felt a certain type of way that you felt that you were being mistreated, then you file a report. You get an attorney. You already have it on video, so there was no need for it, to be honest with you. And my question to you is, who was in the wrong? Who was in the wrong? Do you believe that the police officer was in the wrong, or do you believe that William McNeil was in the wrong? I have to say, both of them were in the wrong, in my opinion. None of this shouldn't have happened. You know what I mean? I feel like, young men these days, they just don't want to listen to authorities. They feel like they're above the law. And listen, I'm sorry to say this, and some people may agree with me, some people may disagree with me. The police officers, they have a job to do. They have a duty to protect their communities. And when they see something inappropriate, they have to do their job and pull you over. Now, in my instance, I got pulled over before when I used to live in New York. And sometimes I feel like I was profiled, you know what I mean, because of the car that I was driving, because of my tinted windows. And I wasn't speeding. I was, following the speed limit. And I got pulled over several times. And you know what I did? I asked the officer, why am I being pulled over? They say X, Y, and Z. They asked him for my license and registration. gave them my registration and my license. They see that that is my vehicle. I said goodbye, good night, and I'm off. I don't resist. I don't talk back. I don't say anything. I make sure everything is recorded so I can protect myself just in case, God forbid, something happens. Okay? We all got pulled over in the past many times. But what do you do in that instance? Okay? Now, maybe William was terrified or scared because he had a possession of drugs in him. He had a weapon. But at least act cool. Be civil. Because, sure, and again, I'm not in the police officer's head, but if he would have just complied and did everything that he was supposed to do, the cop probably would have gave him a warning or a ticket, and that's it. If he would have just stayed cool and not get hot-headed. And most young men, they get hot-headed when they see police officers like, how dare you? You have no right to pull me over. What about the other people? Well, they're not worrying about the other people. He pulled you over. He didn't pull anyone else over. He pulled you over. So when you get pulled over, you just have to, unfortunately, listen to the officer and listen and do what you're told. Okay, do what you're told. There's no need to be hostile. There's no need to give them pushback or be aggressive. Just do what you're told. If you do what you're told, and then that's it. Make sure your phone is recorded. And if anything inappropriate or things get out of line, then you can file a police report or another incident or get an attorney. Okay, so like I said, he did file a complaint. He didn't do it before, but maybe the parents spoke to him, because of that fractured tooth and that head concussion and all that stuff. So he got Ben Crump. So when you have Ben Crump, he's going to take care of the police officers. He's going to get every penny out of this and then just use the whole race thing. Okay, you mark my words. It's going to be a whole race thing when it's not a race thing. It's just a young man, 22 years old, hot-headed, and didn't want to listen. Plain and simple. Don't play the victim. Don't play the race card, nothing like that. The only thing that they should do is get that police officer fired, okay, and suspended without pay and stuff like that, and do a small settlement. I just hope and pray it doesn't be a big spectacle when it doesn't need to be, okay? It doesn't need to be. It's just my thoughts and my opinion. Again, no one doesn't win in this situation, okay? No one doesn't win. I feel like both parties were wrong. Both parties were wrong. Cops should not sucker punch him. William should have listened in the first place, but he didn't want to listen to it. He thought he was a hot shot, okay? Hot-headed, okay? So just keep in mind, if you get pulled over, whether you're a young man, or a young woman, just please comply to the police officers and do what you're asked. Do what you're told. Give them your license and registration. Make sure your phone is recorded, like I said, and that's it. That's it. There's no need to talk back and give them pushback and all that crap. There's no need for it. You escalating something that wasn't need to be escalated. That's my opinion, and that's what I saw, and it just really got out of hand. It just went to 0 to 100. Okay, and it's just crazy. So I will keep you updated in regards to this, what is going to happen. When you have Bill Crump, he's going to shake some feathers in that police department. He is. So you're going to stay tuned for that. And that's all I have to say about that. Thank you so much for watching. That's it. And I will see you guys next time. Bye.